on YouTube. My name is Charity Mende and I am your host. I host the Make Me a Pro podcast. This is the face to the voice, and I've recently moved across the pond to Manhattan to chase an opportunity in communications, and I'm really excited to be here. I've never been to America before, full stop. So this is all new learning and all new experiences for me. The reason for this YouTube series is to really give you an insight on not only my experiences and learnings, but also a real insight into what it's like to move across the world for a job, number one, but also what it's like to be in New York. Any kind of learnings, any observations, I'm going to bring them to you. As you can imagine, I've had a ton of questions from my family and friends and other people that I know, and hopefully in this first video I'm going to be able to provide you with just initial feedback on what I've seen, what I've experienced. I've been here for a couple of days, less than a week, so I'm still very fresh and very new and looking to kind of share my top 5 questions and top 5 tips. Okay, so question 1 is, tell us a bit more about your job and how did you go about applying? Okay, so my friend actually sent me the link for the role on Milk Round. So she saw this and was like, Charity, this would be great, look into it. And I was in a point where I was just job hunting. I already had a job and I was just looking around to see what was out there and kind of put my feelers out there to see what else would come up. So as soon as I got the link, I called them up. I called up a number in New York from my house in the Midlands and just asked, you know what, I don't want to send a blanket application. What does the role entail? Tell me a bit more about the opportunities that are involved, and then I can put in an application. The program that I'm on is called the Global Marketing Exchange Program. There are lots of different variations of this type of program. There is the Mountbatten program, among others. And basically, you get placed with a specific company, and you can apply for lots of different roles, and you interview like normal, but there's a host organization that holds you for your kind of year. So I'm here for a year on this program, and I actually currently work as an account coordinator for a PR agency, a very dynamic PR agency, which has a lot of exciting things going on and is on a really great mission. So that's why I kind of picked it, because it's designed to be the secret weapon for marketing professionals and specifically chief marketing professionals. And that's what I wanted to do. So how did I find it? Milk Round. And actually applying involved several interviews via Skype. I had to kind of sneak in after work to do my calls because obviously of the time difference, etc. So it was application, about 4 or 5 different interviews, written test, and then I got here. My actual job entails a lot of kind of helping of, the team, helping being an extension of the arms and legs, writing emails, correspondence, and just generally being an extra set of hands in the office. There's a lot going on in a PR agency, so my real role is to just be an extension of what everyone else is doing. Okay, now question number 2 is, how does New York differ to London? Oh, where do I begin? So in terms of commuting and the things that I've seen, people in London tend to have their heads down, earphones in, don't talk to me. I'm probably one of those people myself. In New York, it just seems like everyone's a lot more friendly, a lot more open. There is a lot of directness in the people in general, but I would say that it's much easier to strike up a conversation with a stranger on a subway than it is to do that on the tube in London. It's also easier to get directions. I don't know if that's because of my accent or just generally people just wanting to help and being really polite. Never been called ma'am before until I came to America, and now that's a thing. I don't know if that ages me a little bit, but yeah, I think everyone's here is like quite polite and quite, willing to help. I'd also say that New York is very fast paced. London and New York are both kind of hubs for innovation, hubs for, business and, being like the centers of, what's going on in the world. And I think they're very fast paced and it's a different kind of fast pace. In New York, if you kind of don't have your head in the game, it's much harder to kind of catch up. Whereas in London, I feel like there's a lot more kind of, it's a different pace, and you can catch up and kind of be in there, and you can look around and there's support and help. Whereas in New York, you kind of have to figure it out and take on this hustler mentality that everyone has and kind of just get on with it. There's also just general observations. In New York, there's a lot of kind of poverty that I think TV doesn't really show you, which I was really shocked by. There's homeless people that sleep on the subway with you, or like they'll be, just around, and it's actually quite sad. I've had a lot of conversations with people about it. It's really sad to see, but then juxtapose that with the fact that on the subway there's always someone who's selling something, there's someone who's like busking or singing or something, and that's not really something that you see in London. It's not to say that people aren't entrepreneurial in that sense, or there's no homelessness in London, but I just think that it's a different vibe and a different mentality, and I think that seeps also into the fact that New York is all about kind of hustle, 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 and it's just ingrained in society. So those are my kind of general observations so far between London and New York. The third question is, what is your advice on how to make friends/network? I think it's always a good shout to do your homework before you come. So I was very fortunate that a lot of my friends, my colleagues, my bosses, everyone kind of was like, Charity, when you get out there, you need to meet this person, this person, this person. And there was a lot of email introductions before I left. So it wasn't like I'm just there you go. So that was really useful for me, being able to follow up on those people I was introduced to before I left. Also, Facebook is your friend. We live in a generation where Zuckerberg saved us. The world is much smaller. So I would say check out different events that are on Facebook in your local area. Check out, Time Out is really good for events. There's a lot of apps that you can download. Like over here, there is, I think it's called Fever, which tells you different things that are going on today, tomorrow, next week, etc. So it just helps you kind of plan and actually go out there and do stuff. Before I came here, I was very scared of kind of going out and like just being a loner in different places. But I think it's actually, New York is a really good place to just explore and just take walks by yourself and like to meet people on the subway or different things like that. So I just think just go out there and use the internet as a very powerful resource. Go out there and mingle and meet people, but also use the contacts that you already have to help you kind of make new contacts. Okay, the fourth question is New York really glitz and glamour like it's portrayed on TV? Well, all I know from about America is from my shows. Now, I watch a lot of American TV, like Suits, like Scandal, shout out to all my gladiators, and things like that. So my view has really been based on what I see there. And it looks all glamorous and glitzy and amazing. And that's not to say America isn't amazing. I have seen, Times Square at night, and it's beautiful. I've seen Brooklyn Bridge, Williamsburg, and all those great places, and it's absolutely amazing. However, one thing that they don't tell you is that the subway is really dirty. I don't know why, but it's not like New York has a certain smell to it, and it has a certain it's not like London, and I can't really put my finger on it. But that's something that really struck me, and that's something I've also heard from a lot of people who moved here, that New York is, a little bit, could use a good scrub. But also I think just how wide the roads are, or how bright the lights are, I think is just part and parcel of what the city is like. And so I think there is a bit of glitz But there's also the things like, you know, the poor people that are everywhere, or like the rubbish that's on the subway that's like just floating along the rail. Things like that are just, you know, you're a bit like, that's not really what was on TV. So it's a bit of both. You get the kind of New York magic, but there's also parts of it that's not really shown on TV. And so I'd just say be mindful of that. As much as I love London, I was looking forward to that kind of jump start of New York. So I think it so far has, but it's still early days. And so that's it for this episode, guys. If you do have any more questions, I hope I've answered most of them. But if you do have any more questions, feel free to comment, reach out on the different social medias, and just let me know like your feedback and your thoughts, etc. If you have any more comments to add, feel free to shoot them across to me for the next episode. And until next time, guys.